All right, gonna go through project 11 blur gallery. First thing I do is get the picture off a classroom onto the Photoshop canvas. What you have to do for that is click on the screenshot under there, and there's no download button, which is a problem. So what you have to do is you have to click on the more actions icon right there and go to open in new window. And then once you have that, there'll actually be a download button right there. And then it will appear, once you click on the download button, it will appear on the bottom of your web browser. And I already have it right there. So then you can drag that into Photoshop and let go. Next thing, so you can let it know you're done resizing. The next thing you have to do is separate all of these images onto their own layer. So what you do for that is take the second tool down, rectangle marquee, and you highlight over it and press Control J, and you see that it goes on its own layer. So you gotta do that for all four of them. The thing you gotta make sure of is that you go back to the original layer before you press Control J. Otherwise, you're gonna get this screen right here because you're trying to copy nothing right there on the car layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Once you have that done, the four blurs that you are gonna do is on the classroom instructions. But just to go through it right now in case you get the reference back, it's motion blur, radial blur, iris blur, and tilt shift blur right here. For the top two, you have to cut out the image. When you go and cut out, use the polygonal lasso tool, and I'll go really quick. You should be zooming in and taking your time with the cutout to make it look good. But once you are done cutting it out on that layer, you are going to press Control J again, and that's going to separate the selected image onto its own layer. So once you have that, you're going to go back to the background, so you're not on the car layer, and you're going to go to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur for the first one, and you can pick what angle it goes at and the amount right here in the distance slider, and then you can press OK and slide the car forward just a little bit, then you're done with that one. It's the same thing for the next one, so I'll go ahead and kind of fast forward. So I'm fast forwarded here to the cutout on yellow, which I'm going to press Control J again and duplicate that. And then go to the background layer, and this time I'm doing a filter, blur, radial blur. This one you want to keep kind of low. Mine is at 11, and you press OK, and you can see what it does there. And again, you can slide the cutout over a little bit. Next two are pretty easy. The snowboarder is an iris blur. For those, they're under the blur gallery, and you actually get your own, it kind of pops up and takes over the screen. So for this one, think of it kind of as your eye, and you can move it using the very center pin there, and you can adjust the outside blur with the mouse, and you also have this transition in the middle, kind of going from not blurry to blurry, and you can slide that, and the intensity is right here in the middle, so you can kind of pick that. If you ever had to do multiple ones too, you can just click around and do that, but in this case we really only need one because it's snowboarder. For the last one, it is a tilt shift blur, same area, filter, blur gallery, tilt shift. It's the same thing as the iris, except it's all horizontal lines, and you can move that over and do the transition, pick your intensity, and then hit OK. So those are the four blurs that you have to do. You don't have to label them on this one because I should know what they already are. And then you would be doing your own four in the blur gallery and just finding four more that you didn't know on a different project.